The entire process from the idea conception to actually getting my product in the hands of a customer, just about 1 year.
Welcome to the podcast, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the show.
This is Own or Get Owned.
Educating and inspiring our listeners to own in real estate, career, and life.
I'm your host and mortgage lender, David.
And I'm your architect and real estate agent, Hero.
Welcome to season 3.
All right. Thank you so much. Welcome to this week's episode of Own or Get Owned. This one, we have a very special guest. We have Chris. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hey, y'all. How's
Founder of, how do you pronounce it? Ondori?
Ondori. Yeah.
Ondori.
Thanks for coming.
And just product placement.
Yeah.
Boom.
Freshly tanned from Hawaii, too.
Swag.
Aloha.
Yeah. Mahalo for coming.
All right. So let's just jump right into it. So, Chris, if you want to just give us a quick intro about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so I'm a firefighter paramedic inside the SoCal area. I work in like a big Asian community, and part of what like is important to me is community, is like representing that community. And starting an electrolyte supplement company was a way for me to get to that next level and represent the community with Asian flavors, something that you don't really see a lot in these gym supplements. So it's a way to, stay hydrated, stay healthy, natural ingredients, real fruit, and these real authentic Asian flavors. So that's kind of like what I'm all about.
Awesome. So right now, the flavor that you have out is lychee, right?
Yeah, so that's our first flavor. We just launched maybe a month and a half ago. We're trying to launch more flavors. Everyone keeps asking us all the time.
So it's gotta be the number one question, right? What's next?
Yeah, what's next? What do you have going on next, dude?
How do you actually get the real fruit flavor in there?
So we use real fruit powder.
Okay.
And then we add that with the our electrolytes, our salt, our potassium, sodium, all of the good jazz. So it's a good way to just if you're not drinking enough water, or you sweat too much, or you're doing a half marathon that you guys might have coming up, there's a good way to replace that.
I love it. Yeah.
Great timing.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
I'll definitely use this during the Long Beach half marathon.
I need one of these, what do you call these mixers?
The shaker bottle.
Yeah. I'm meaning to get one, so that's perfect timing too.
Boom.
Great.
I read your minds.
Mahalo again.
Hello again.
All right, take it away.
All right. So, with Own or Get Owned, we always like to talk about our roots, which is real estate. Mm-hmm. So, do you own any real estate?
I don't currently own real estate, but working hard at it, trying to keep the bank account going up. Fiance keeps the bank account going down. So it's a balance.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
That's right. Your congratulations on your engagement.
Oh, thank you.
And then, so if you worked, or what is your dream piece of real estate?
So I think my dream piece of real estate would be the first one I start off, which would be a multifamily residential, right? Maybe like a fourplex, maybe get an FHA loan on one of them. Put
look at that.
3.5% down, rent out the other big three. Right. I was listening to the podcast episode that you guys had. You guys put down 10% and 3.5% down. Mm-hmm. Very sexy. So just try to get started.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to dip your feet into real estate.
Yeah, own one unit, rent out the other 3. Yeah, go from there.
And then move on to your dream home, right?
Sure help if the rates are down, though.
I know. Tell me about it. I'm suffering. Everyone else is suffering too.
So in terms of your business... Oh, actually, here, David, you had a special way of introducing this.
Yeah, so I did some research and I saw that you were doing some interviews at the expo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I really like your line of questioning. So it was like a lightning speed questioning. So you already kind of told us, but I'm going to ask you the exact same way. So tell me about your business. What is it called?
So we're Ondori Hydration. We're an all-natural electrolyte hydration company. So think of us as a healthy liquid IV. It's a good way to say hydrated if you don't drink enough water, or if you just sweat too much and you aren't replacing the electrolytes that you lose. The way that we're different is we're all natural. We use real authentic Asian fruits. So you're not getting any artificial flavoring. You're getting the actual real thing. And the best part about us is 0 sugar added.
You covered 2 already. So the next one is for aspiring business owners. Mm-hmm. What is your advice?
So for aspiring business owners is you just need to find a way to figure it out. So this is something I learned as being a firefighter, is there's not always a very pretty way of the textbook way of doing something. It's you just got to find a way to put that fire out. You don't have to always, be very rigid, robotic about that. Mm. And the same thing applies to business is you can be textbook all you want, maybe your booth at an expo, but things are going to go bad. Fire is going to pop up. You're going to find a way to take control of the situation, put out the small little fires, and just figure it out as you go. So don't be very rigid. Don't be locked into like, oh, it has to be a certain way. Initially for the business, when I wanted to start it off initially, we were going to do very slim packaging. My current manufacturer doesn't allow that. So we're doing the wider style packaging. So just be flexible with that.
You're good at putting out fires, right? From firefighting. I like that. And then your Ondori brand, right? So being Japanese, it sounds very familiar to me, but what's the meaning behind that?
So Ondori in Japanese is rooster. And I got a little bit of inspiration from the Sriracha story.
Oh.
The Hui Fong story is he has a rooster on like the classic Sriracha bottles. And that's because his lunar zodiac is a rooster. I am also a rooster. So I wanted to give, a little bit of a callback to that.
Oh,
that's
I
cool.
didn't know that story.
Yeah, it's not on the website.
I love Sriracha.
Yeah, I was sifting through
You're
it.
like, what does this rooster mean in the hot sauce?
Like, I knew it was like an immigrant story, and it's like super, inspiring. I just didn't know the actual animal itself. That's pretty cool.
I saw on your website, it said, there's stuff about sodium, potassium, all kinds of stuff inside the actual Ondori ingredients, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain that more? Because I really don't understand what the benefits of those are.
Yeah, so think of electrolytes as just essentially like salt, right? So salt like sodium chloride. When you guys sweat, you guys are losing salt, you guys are losing potassium, you guys are losing a little bit of magnesium. And when you guys lose too much, when you guys just drink water, like you guys aren't replacing that, which is why, people typically eat like bananas, you drink like pickle juice, or you eat like real food, but you can't necessarily eat like a whole piece of roast chicken during a race, And I guess you could, but it's a little
That's
hard.
tough.
So this is in the same way, people drink protein shakes when, chicken is the best, like real food is always better than like liquid or supplement. But if you want something faster to get into your bloodstream, these electrolytes are a good way to keep you more hydrated.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think thanks to this podcast, I got into a lot of like more fitness things like running and things like that. So something that I learned through like deep Reddit dives is it's electrolytes. You have to replace it constantly during as you're exercising for you to kind of push through that workout.
Yeah.
And something like doing like a triathlon, like the fourth leg they say for triathlon is nutrition. So, I mean, that's really interesting. And I'm glad that I'm going to get to try this. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh yeah. Stoked for you guys.
Trying to get first place with that?
I don't know, man. I'm not that fast.
I learned the hard way about electrolytes during my fire academy. It's like a 16-week process, right? Grueling, intensive. You're in your firefighter like turnout outfit, and you're out in the blazing hot sun. And I was sweating so much, my muscles actually started cramping, and I wouldn't be able to move my arms or legs sometimes. And like one time, my legs couldn't move at all, and I fell face first into the ground.
Oh man.
So like that's an extreme example of what happens when you just sweat so much. You're drinking water and you're not like drinking, pickle juice, or like you're not replacing that. Is an example of what happens.
Because I always try to fix that by drinking more water, and it wasn't doing anything. Okay, so I need to be.
So if you're not sweating like, like for 5 hours a day, drinking water is, like adequate enough. But if you want to get to the next level, you want to like replace, like if you lose like a pound of sweat, you want to like drink, a pound of sweat.
Okay.
Essentially.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
sweat.
so like when I found out about that, it threw me off because I always thought salt, which that's what I associate sodium with, that dehydrates you. But it's actually the opposite effect, right?
Yeah. Well, think about this. They say like, oh, when you're working out, you drink Gatorade, right? So what Gatorade essentially is just sugar, water, and salt. It's like when they say like the electrolytes, right? That's what Gatorade has. Except Gatorade also has 130 calories, which is not super fun of sugar. So we try to like knock out the sugar and still have like that sweet taste with monk fruit sweetener.
So how is it different from like liquid IV?
So liquid IV, they're, the biggest ones in the market right now, 45 calories. They've got 11 grams of added sugar. They think that you need all of this sugar inside your blood, which is, like what they say. We believe that, hey, we want, zero sugar added. We just want like the real fruit, and we want the electrolytes, and that's it. So we're zero sugar added. Which is why the main difference between us and them is, if you look at our ingredients, Liquids IV's first ingredient on the back, it says sugar. And the next one is dextrose, which is a form of sugar.
And the first one's always the most amount, right?
Yeah. And ours is the first one you read is like natural lychee fruit powder. So that's the reference, is like the authenticity.
I'm actually I'm kind of like a data nerd. So like I'm very curious about how you got to kind of your mean, I'm not saying share your secret sauce, but like how you got to kind of formulating
Okay, yeah.
like the drink and like how you went about it. I mean, I'm sure you did your research, like looking at brands like Liquid IV, right? How you got to where you're at.
Yeah, so part of it is, what is out there. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm seeing like, hey, Liquid IV, I mean, the electrolytes are good, but all of the sugar, not necessarily. And then seeing, the other brands like Element out there. So I took a look at, what electrolyte ratios they had. I used that as the foundation for mine. I found a good manufacturer who produces them in Georgia. So they, along myself as a paramedic, and their food scientists, we, did a scientific formula that will be optimal for people to replace their electrolytes with. So
Super cool. That's like very, very interesting.
Your your social media, we did a little deep dive and we noticed that you've done a lot of things, which is great.
Oh, and also shout out to our manager Julie. She let us know.
Yeah, Julie gave us a little bit of tidbit on what you do. You used to be you used to be an actor, podcaster. You're a firefighter, paramedic, and then now an entrepreneur as well. What drives you?
I just like life. I think it's super interesting. I try to do something new, something that always keeps me engaged. But I think overall, the goal is to help other people and to represent the Asian community. And I think it's these two things that kind of like drive me as like my core foundation. It's great. Like in terms of acting right now, we have Simu Liu, which is he's doing a lot of good stuff for the Asian community in terms of representation. Right now, we have people thinking like, oh, hey, I can be an actor too, right? There's like a familiar Asian face out there. With firefighting, I wanted to, help the community. There's my department of over 1,000 people. Maybe only 8 of them are actually Vietnamese. Right? We have a very small Asian population, amount of Asian firefighters for a fairly large Asian community, right? So I want to, show other people out there like, hey, Asians can be firefighters too. We can be very fit. We can be very active. And the thing about right now, my current project with Ondori is I want to show other people and inspire them with the current wave of Asian companies out there. You have Sanzo, which is an Asian-inspired sparkling water. Great. You have Lunar Hard Seltzer, Asian-inspired, like alcohol, which is great for me on the weekends, right? You have a lot of great companies out right now, and that they inspired me, and they were a great model for me. Like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. Now I want to pass that forward onto the community, to the next generation. Like, hey, if I can do this, and I don't know my left from my right, you guys can do this too.
It's just inspirational.
Yeah, that's super inspiring. I mean, I think like that goes to show like, I feel like Asians in like media or anything like that, we're just not very well represented in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, everyone out there, if you're Asian, you can do it.
If you're not
anyone else, too.
if you're not Asian, you
You don't
can
have to be Asian either,
Yeah, that's cool. What's your I guess for Ondori, going back to that, your flavors you mentioned, what's the next one? What's the
or is it a secret?
Is it durian?
We don't have secrets. We have a couple that we're workshopping right now. We're thinking about something to do with either yuzu, with guava, or passion fruit. So we're kind of playing between the 3 right now.
I really like yuzu.
Yeah.
It's an interesting flavor. No one's really used that as like a drink taste.
How do you? So like, I actually had this. I don't want to call it a problem. I was trying to describe yuzu flavor to someone that didn't know. It's kind of like a citrusy but a little sweeter.
Yeah, I would call it like a sweeter, citrusy lemon.
We have a question that we always ask our interviewees. What did you learn from your biggest failure or success?
Everything's been a failure. Yeah. I would say the biggest failure was initially when I started the company. I thought, oh, wow, I can get this done in about 1 month. I can get launched really fast, get to market. And hypothetically, yes, but the entire process from the idea conception to actually getting my product in the hands of a customer, just about 1 year.
I think that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
I haven't done that before, but from like the people I know, I feel like 1 year is a pretty quick timeline.
Yeah, relatively. But in my mind, I was like, dude, I'll knock this out so easy. And part of the problem was when we were getting the sampling process down, we couldn't quite nail it. And then when I talked to my manufacturer, I found out they're like, hey, to be honest with you, I don't really know what lychee tastes like. And I'm like, oh, I do not want to hear that from you guys.
Oh, so they had no idea what they're making.
No. So I had to source and find the actual lychee fruit powder myself, send it to them. That process was very long, and that's why it took the entire year to get to launch.
So that was kind of like the hurdle, the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
So it's 11 months of teaching them what lychee was, and then
So
1 month to...
they were not Asian. They were not familiar with lychee. So I had to, like help bridge the cultural gaps, which is
Yeah.
part of our mission statement.
Because that makes sense, because you can't like walk into Ralph's and find lychee, right?
True.
No,
It's not like
it's
a
not
fruit.
super prevalent.
Uh-huh. It is an intimidating looking fruit too if you don't know what it
I
is.
mean, but it tastes pretty like easy to accept.
Oh yeah, it's a very great welcoming flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asian fruit flavors too, snacks wise, like it's pretty easy. Like it's subtle. It's not as intense as American flavor sometimes.
We've had great feedback. So when we launched last month at the Anaheim Convention Center, the Fit Expo, thousands and thousands of people at that convention, and we had 90% positive feedback. And we thought only Asian people were going to buy the product. About 40-50% of the people who bought it were Caucasian, and the rest were also mixed as well. So it was a good way that we validated the product that, hey, this isn't just for Asian people. Like everyone wants, to experience these authentic Asian flavors, which I thought was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Yeah. You're like really getting that message out there, like the representation for our culture.
Yeah, that's awesome. What even pushed you to do Asian flavors in the first place?
Yeah, like I was saying, the biggest reason why I started the company, right, was I knew I wanted to start something, right? And I saw all of these different like Asian companies out there, like I was saying, like the sparkling water, the hard seltzers, there's like an Asian flavoring, there's chili oil out there right now. And I was like, well, what is it that I really love? And I really love consuming like these sweet beverages that are supposed to be good for you, right? And working out. So I combined these two passions, and I was like, oh, I do enjoy the taste of liquid IV. I don't enjoy the fact that it has so much sugar. So that's, what caused me to kind of like create my own process.
You're a powerlifter too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
The fitness side is definitely showing there. Yeah, for sure.
You found what you like, your passion, and turned it into a product that you want to share with the rest of the people.
I'm sure a lot of listeners might think like, wow, you really have it figured out. But I think what they don't know is you went through a lot of trial and error to finally get here, correct?
Yeah. Exactly what you're saying. A lot of trial and error. The entire 1 year process, I was like doubting myself. I was like, dude, how do I even get this out there? Even now we go through issues all the times with like issues with our manufacturer, issues with packaging, issues with like vendors. But like I said earlier, part of it is figuring that out. And the biggest hurdle is right now is balancing my day job, which I'm actually going back to work tomorrow in a couple of days for 4 days straight.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm doing a 96-hour shift at the fire station, and I'm still trying to balance, running a business on the side.
Oh my God.
Putting out actual fires, then you're putting out business fires.
Yeah.
Wow.
Meanwhile, trying to keep my fiance happy. So it's all about the balance.
Oh, happy 3-year anniversary, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know we talked about like new flavors that you're having in the works. What's kind of what's next for like your endeavor? What's in the store for Ondori?
Yeah. So right now we're focusing on increasing our retail accounts. We currently have one gym, that has us as a retail product. We're just trying to get our face in more gyms. We already did like a demonstration at 24 Hour Fitness. We have Crunch Fitness coming up. These are like very popular gyms in the SoCal area. And after that, we're going to try and increase our online sales, because what we found is, when people get a chance to sample us, they love us, they buy us, with pretty high rates, but trying to get that traffic out online, much harder. So
yeah, I mean, I think there's so much competition and trying to grab consumers' attention for that split second.
Yeah.
And there's a whole job around that, right? The whole SEO,
Yeah, marketing. Yeah.
super hard.
Wow.
But I mean, I think if you have a great product such as this, I mean, then it's gonna hopefully sell itself once you're able to get in front of them, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
We have a section called Just the Tip, where we like to have our listeners get inspired by, a certain inspirational quote, tidbit, advice, whatever it is from your side. What's your little advice to our listeners?
Well, my little tip is fine. what would I say? Is find a way to make it work for me. Like there was a lot I didn't know, right? So maybe let's relate it back to real estate. Initially, when I was saving up to buy a home, I had 3.5% down instead of the conventional 20% down, right? That, based on what you guys are saying, a lot of people still think 20% down is necessary. You can get away with 3.5. But what I didn't know at the time was the closing costs. And I was like, oh, so you don't know what you don't know. With myself, I thought I didn't even know what the name of a manufacturer would be for my product. I'd be like, is it a supplement manufacturer? Is it powder manufacturer? So I had to figure that out, and then I had to figure out, how to manufacture it, how to get it packaged. And you don't know what you don't know until you try to dive more in. And I'm in a community right now full of other founders who are in the same situation I'm at. Whenever I get stumped, I pick their brains at, and I do a lot of reading. And the things that I learned, I was like, dude, I really knew nothing before. So you don't know what you don't know, and you try to figure it out.
Well, the less you know, the more you think you know, right? The more you know very little, right?
Yep.
There's a you mentioned you had a bunch of people that was doing the same thing, and you guys all talk to each other. There's a term for that, right? Where it's a
Mastermind?
Yeah, mastermind.
Yeah, mastermind.
Yeah,
so for most masterminds, you have to pay to get in, and it's led by some big shot mastermind leader. With the community I'm in, it's called Startup CPG. It's just fellow founders, right? All trying to pick each other's brains, trying to like get the best resources. Oh, who do you guys recommend for, packaging? Who do you guys recommend for a shipper? What app is the best for SEO? So once you get yourself into a community who's supportive of your endeavors, that's the best. It's even more so when you can surround yourself with close friends who can do that. Some of my friends, they own coffee shops in the local area. They're trying to start their e-commerce side too. And, they say that you're the sum of your 5 closest friends. So when you surround yourself with like-minded people who, start podcasts, right? These are the people who can help elevate you to the next level with the same goals and aspirations as you.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's super inspiring. I mean, again, communities are what you base your biggest belief on the company too. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the last part here that we have is if people want to kind of find out more about the company and purchase your product, where can they go?
Yeah. So you guys can find us at drinkondori.com. On Instagram, we're at drinkondori. We're currently selling on the website, and hopefully we're going to be at a couple more gyms near y'all. So coming soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys.
Thank you for the podcast, thank you for the show. You just finished listening.